Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. The study of this week is titled Impact of Different Activation Procedures on Sodium Hypochlorite Penetration into Dentinal Tubules after Endodontic Retreatment via Confocal Laser Scanning Microscopy. It was published by Gonz et al. In 2024 in the BMC Oral Health. So, the infected dentinal tubules are a possible source of bacteria that are responsible for the failure of root canal treatment. Therefore, disinfection of dentinal tubules by increasing the penetration of the irrigation solution is important for the success in retreatment cases. So, the aim of this study is to compare the effects of XPR, which is the XP Endofinisher R file, and the ultrasonic irrigation and sonic irrigation and the penetration of sodium hypochlorite into the dentinal tubules after retreatment using confocal laser scanning microscopy. So moving on to the materials and methods, 40 freshly extracted human mandibular premolars with a single root and root canal with no signs of root cracks or resorption were selected in this study. And prior to the root canal preparation, teeth were decoronated at 60 millimeters from the apex for standardization. Then the root canal preparation was done up to ProTaper X3 file, which is 30.07. And the root canals were obturated with Guttapercha and bioceramic root canal sealer with single cone technique. Also, then the teeth were sealed with cavet and specimens were stored for 2 weeks to allow for the sealer to completely set. Then after 2 weeks, the root canal filling materials were removed using ProTaper nickel titanium rotary retreatment files until the working length was reached. The retreatment procedure was finalized using the ProTaper Next X4, which is 40.06. There was no solvent used, and also the root canals were irrigated with sodium hypochlorite during the retreatment procedures. Then the specimens were randomly divided into 4 groups according to the final irrigation activation procedure. The control group, which is conventional needle irrigation, the sonic activation, and the ultrasonic irrigation, also the XPR. So for the final irrigation activation procedure, they used 17% Edita and also 5% sodium hypochlorite for all the groups. Where in the control group, which is the conventional needle irrigation, they used 31 gauge closed and two-sided vented irrigation for 1 minute. And also for the sonic and ultrasonic, the activation was performed for 20 seconds and repeated 3 times for a total activation time of 1 minute for both the Edita and the sodium hypochlorite. And for the XPR, the activation involved a 20-second up and down motion, and also it was repeated 3 times for a total activation of 1 minute. And during the final irrigation procedure, rhodamine B dye was introduced to the 5% sodium hypochlorite for visualization via the CLSM. And subsequent to image acquisition, the maximum penetration percentage, and also the penetration area were calculated, and then data were analyzed. So for the results, as you see in table 1, when examining each activation method for the different root thirds, the sonic activation and control groups had no significant impact on the penetration percentage in all root thirds. In contrast, the ultrasonic irrigation and XPR groups displayed a higher penetration percentage in the coronal and middle thirds than in the apical third. The maximum penetration value was significantly lower in the apical third than in the coronal and middle thirds in all groups, and in the controlled, sonic, and XP groups, the irrigation solution penetration area was ranked from highest to lowest as coronal, middle, and apical respectively. However, in the ultrasonic group, the penetration area was significantly smaller in the apical third than in the middle and coronal thirds. And for the table number 2, which is when comparing the irrigation activation methods for each root third, no statistically significant differences were observed in the penetration area, penetration percentage, or maximum penetration parameters in the apical and coronal thirds. In the middle third, the ultrasonic irrigation group exhibited a higher percentage of penetration than the control group, whereas the penetration area and the maximum penetration parameters were statistically similar for all experimental groups. So, in conclusion, the ultrasonic irrigation enhanced the penetration percentage in the middle third of the route compared with that in the control group. XPR and sonic activation showed no significant effect on the sodium hypochlorite penetration following retreatment.